siren.
What?
Run the damn siren. I'm paying for it. I mean, let them know there's going to be some blood in there.
I can circle, but it's going to cost you more.
Oh, for sake. There.
Greetings and welcome to Maple Leaf America. This week in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, home to the Chiefs of the East Coast Hockey League, and also home to the mythical Charlestown Chiefs of the Federal League from the classic 1977 movie Slapshot. This week we'll talk real hockey and Hollywood hockey. We'll take you around this town, around the old War Memorial Rink, and we'll talk about an NHL goaltending legend. That's right, we'll invoke the memories of Hanrahan, Oglethorpe, Tim McCracken, Denny Lemieux, and of course, Reg Dunlop, on this edition of Maple Leaf America.
Don't ever play Lady of Spain again!
Welcome back to Maple Leaf America from the Cambria County War Memorial Arena, the home to the Johnstown and Charlestown Chiefs. But before we get more into the movie Slapshot, let's talk some serious business about late great NHL goalkeeper Roger Crozier. Roger had wonderful careers on and off the ice, and before he passed away from cancer in 1996, he left a great legacy. Recently, we traveled east through Pennsylvania to reminisce with his wife, Janice.
Roger Crozier.
Bracebridge, Ontario native Roger Crozier was the NHL's Rookie of the Year in 1965. He won a Conn Smythe Trophy for a Detroit team that lost the finals in '66. His 13-season career was often highlighted by spectacular performances. He met his wife Janice 1 year before it was over.
Gee, I wish I'd been there. You know, the night that he won the Conn Smythe and was Rookie of the Year and those kind of things. Because his career at the time I met him was really, you know, coming down on the downside. I mean, he was certainly still a good hockey player and was doing a lot for the Sabres. I mean, there were nights he'd have 60 shots on goal and they'd walk away with a tie. So I certainly saw him play a lot of good hockey. But, you know, by that time he was 29 when I met him. And so yeah, it would have been nice to have seen him in his heyday.
Little did she know at the time, Janice would see Roger in his heyday of an incredibly successful second career. After goaltending, Crozier stayed in hockey as an assistant GM in Washington. After about a half dozen years, he turned to the outside world.
When he went to MBNA, he went there, he was a carpenter, he had a background, and of course the fellow that interviewed him and hired him knew about his hockey background. And they, at that point, had just renovated an A&P building and to make it into, it's a credit card business. And they were having a heck of a time trying to coordinate the construction that was going on and the banking needs as far as security and that sort of thing. And they wanted somebody that can put it all together. So they said to him, do you want to give it a try? So he said, okay. And he really blossomed we went there in '84 and he passed away in '95. In those years, he did the work probably of an architect, an engineer. I mean, he literally
designed and built buildings for MBNA Bank, one after another in the U.S. and abroad. He became an off-ice legend. There's a life-size statue of Crozier in the company headquarters. Employee restaurants are named after him. One of the company's most prestigious annual awards is named after Crozier.
One thing that always stuck in my mind is he used to say to me when he played hockey, oh gee, I don't think I could ever work 9 to 5. Because, you know, the hockey, you go for like a couple of hours, 3 hours for the practice and you come home and that's it for the day. And when he worked for the bank, he'd be out of the house at 6 in the morning and some nights he wouldn't be back till 8 or 9 at night. I mean, it was that grueling. And he set deadlines of, you know, this building will be up in 8 months, and the building was up in 8 months. And I think I learned what a motivator of people he was. He was wonderful at making people feel that they mattered, that they contributed, that he wanted their input. And he could get absolutely 100% out of everybody that worked for him.
And people, including Janice, are still enthusiastically working for him. through his charitable legacy, the Crozier Foundation. Established not long before he died, it gives underprivileged children a chance to participate in sports.
Well, you know, Roger was one of 14, so there wasn't much money in his family. I mean, he got goalie skates for Christmas one year. That was just phenomenal. I mean, that a kid, one of 14, whose dad drove the Canada Dry truck, and his mother never worked. I mean, for a kid to get ice skates was pretty incredible. So he always saw that there were kids that had talent and maybe not the money, especially these kids we sponsor in the wintertime. I mean, there is no way that they'll play hockey in the winter unless somebody sponsors them and puts the money up and buys their equipment. So that's what we do. They had, actually the lady from social service did this. She took pictures of the kids, and each one of them wrote a little note and said thank you. So they usually do that every year, some sort of a thank you. The pop was good. Thank you for the skating. Another little 7-year-old. There's another little guy there.
That's great.
Yeah. So they're very appreciative, nice little kids, you know.
A charitable foundation launched by a successful banking career, launched by a career in hockey.
I think probably one of his best relationships in hockey was with Punch Mike. I can remember one Christmas, Roger flew back from Vancouver, and he and Tim Horton were having a couple of cocktails. And of course, with Roger's pancreatitis, he's not supposed to drink, but it was Christmas Eve. And so he gets off the plane, and we get halfway to my house, and you know, he says, I don't feel good. So I take him to the hospital Christmas Eve. Of course, they admit him. He's got pancreatitis. Christmas morning, I'm down there with a little Christmas tree and presents and all kinds of stuff. And who walks in? Punch Mike. Christmas morning. And I thought, wow, this is one nice guy, you know. And he walks in, he says, well, it looks like you're all right. But, you know, he came down to see how he was, and so Punch was a real good guy. And then when Roger would have those nights of 60 shots and they'd walk away with a tie, he'd say to Roger, I don't want to see you tomorrow. In other words, don't come to the practice, you know, stay home.
Crozier spent 6 busy seasons in Buffalo, basically leading to the end of his career.
This is one of the first pictures Roger gave me and told me to put it in the bathroom to keep the flies away. It was his promo picture for Buffalo.
Crozier's glove.
For a huge childhood fan of Crozier's, looking through his equipment bag was equally thrilling and chilling, emotionally eerie. Crozier died of aggressive prostate cancer in January of 1996 at age 54.
Okay.
What? You don't know.
How'd you ask him?
I say who owned the Chiefs.
What did he say?
Back in Johnstown, or Charlestown, if you prefer for the moment, outside Joe McGrath's office, the conniving general manager of the Chiefs. Now, whether you think Slapshot is a hockey cult classic, or if you think it's just an hour and 45 minutes of nonsensical vulgarity, one thing is for sure, the characters from the movie, irreplaceable. I actually asked some of the young guys that are presently playing pro hockey here in Johnstown what they thought of the mythical men that preceded them here at the War Memorial.
It's pretty interesting. I think the first thing I did when I came down was not go in the dressing room, but head right into the arena to take a look where Joe McGrath's front office was and where the boys came out. So it's got a lot of history behind it, and it's a fun building to play in.
It's great playing in this facility. It definitely has a little bit of nostalgia to it, that's for sure, as well as the whole town. You know, you take a little trip, just a couple blocks, you see the dog and the park from the movie. So, you know, your first time in town, you know, you're, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, the first time I got here, if you look up in the corner, they still got the old organ there, and my first shot, I skated to the blue line, stopped, and let a slap shot go, so it's been pretty funny here.
The current Johnstown Chiefs are just a little bit outside a playoff spot right now, but we'll keep rooting for them. Of course, the 77 Chiefs, they won the Federal League Championship. Woo-hoo. We'll be back with more Maple Leaf America right after this. Welcome back to Maple Leaf America. We are in a Johnstown institution, Johnny's, on Main Street, and this is Johnny.
Right.
John what? What's the last name?
Mavroros.
But nobody knows you by that.
I'm Greek.
They're Greek. They just know you from Johnny's.
Right.
You were, of course, here during the making of Slapshot, because this has been here for how long?
53 years.
53 years. You can see this. It's one of the few businesses that still are here from the movie. You can see it in the background during the parade, right?
Yes.
Now, the fellows used to come in here, like Paul Newman. Tell me about what Paul Newman used to do.
Paul Newman, he came in every morning when they used to shoot in the city park, and he would come in and take this 7-ounce little can of Budweiser. Good morning, how are you, Paul? Put him in his pocket and go to the city park, you know.
Right.
Shoot, you know.
So you knew the Hanson boys or the Carlsons as well,
the
right?
Carlson, my dear friends, they used to patronize me here, you know, every day almost, you know, because those days the team used to stay in apartments downtown, you know, and great guys.
Yep.
You know, Steve, Jack, Dave Hanson.
Yep.
Tough boys, you know.
Yep.
When they play here, you know, for the Jets, tough.
Yep.
They were tough boys. There's some good teams then.
Two Carlsons and a Hanson, and we actually ran into them like 4 days ago in Cincinnati, and they're still doing the same thing. Check it out.
Well, it was great except for the flood. You know, we couldn't find a dog to help rescue us from the flood, so lucky we took swimming lessons when we were young. Mom just threw us right in the lake, and we learned how to swim like little tadpoles.
What?
Got anything
Different
serious
question.
to add? No, same question.
Same question.
What was the question?
Which one? Number 1 or 2?
Number 1 in Johnstown.
Number 1? 70s.
Was there a better time?
Can't remember much about the 70s. Those are good times. We made a fashion statement. We were really cool looking. And we turned the sports world upside down.
We had a great time filming it there in Johnstown. We're all played there for 2 years, was it, boys? Yeah, 2 years. A lot of great friends there. Universal Studios came in. We became friends with all them, and I'll tell you what, it was a great time. And we played old-time hockey like Eddie Shore,
Clapper and Toe Blake
and Gordie Howe. Gordie.
What's Reg up to?
Reg, well, he's an old, he's running an ice rink, Zamboni driver. We'll take care of him.
All right. He's up in Bear Butte, Minnesota, working.
Downtown.
Yeah. Working on outdoor rinks. There's a big rink out there. It's called Lake Superior. He's trying to clean it.
Well, you've been here a while. Johnny's has been here a while, but you weren't here for the flood of 1889.
No.
Well, that is the most famous event here outside of Slapshot. I mean, you know, huge proportions, big event, 1889, the flood, and people hear about it. They're not sure what it is. We're going to show you.
Until 9/11/2001, no single event in American history had claimed more civilian lives than the Johnstown flood of 1889. Much of this bustling steel town was washed away when an estimated 20 million tons of water crashed out of the South Fork Reservoir 14 miles up the valley. The reservoir and surrounding land had been purchased by wealthy families from Pittsburgh for fishing and hunting. They generally ignored the local dam in disrepair.
They had built an exclusive summer resort in the mountains above Johnstown. Unfortunately, they had done a really shabby job of repairing the dam, and there was a lot of concern here about Johnstown, but no one really knew. It was 14 miles between the lake and Johnstown, and nobody really knew what everyone just figured water would spread out if the dam broke, and as it turns out that it was overtopped with a heavy rain on May 31st, 1889, and the water didn't spread out. It formed a giant ball, which when it crashed into Johnstown was 37 feet high, and claimed the lives of 2,200 men, women, and children here in Johnstown.
396 children under the age of 10 died. 99 entire families were lost. 1,600 homes and 280 businesses were destroyed, all in about 10 minutes.
Here's an event where, quite simply, you know, the rich and powerful, have a pleasure lake. It breaks and kills thousands of people, and they get away with it. They're above the law. There were civil suits and criminal investigations, and basically they were, the club was found to be not guilty. It was an act of providence because of the rain that fell before the dam break, and the suits were all eventually abandoned. So that it was, for Americans in many ways, it was a symbol for what they thought was going wrong with their country. You had a group of wealthy people that were above the law.
Within hours of the disaster, the townsfolk had met and formed committees. Sheriffs were deputized, finance and cleanup committees formed. The steel mills were back in business within 8 days. Within 6 weeks, with the help of almost $4 million in donations from a sympathetic nation, the town was cleared of debris. For a century, Johnstown has been known as Flood City, bolstered by 2 less tragic but still devastating floods in 1938 and 1977. It should be known as Resilient City, rebounding from the floods and recently bouncing back from much drier problems. With the steel mills and related businesses closing over the years, the local economy has turned to high-tech and defense-related industries.
Two years after the big flood of 1889, they built this inclined plane, P-L-A-N-E, as kind of an escape from the floodplain, P-L-A-I-N. It's the steepest in the world. Over the years, it's been modernized. For a while, commuters would ride up and down to the neighborhoods up on top of that hill there. Much more ahead on this Maple Leaf America. When we come back, we're going over to Bill Burley's place. So stay with us. Welcome back to Maple Leaf America. I'm sitting smack dab in the heart of Johnstown. It's called Central Park. You saw this little spot a dozen times in the movie Slapshot. Unfortunately, most of the businesses are gone from 1976 and 77. Francine's Beauty Shop is gone. The diner where the fellas ate breakfast is gone. Their favorite bar actually burnt down. You will still find the statue of the dog, which helped save some people during one of the floods. You'll see the statue of the founder of Johnstown. Now, Reg and the Chiefs are not the most famous inhabitants of Johnstown/Charlestown. In the hockey world, that distinction belongs to Mr. Bill Burley.
Let me, hold on, let me put him in the office.
When Bill Burley's not innovating, he's entertaining.
Believe it or not, that used to be me up there. You've got good eyes, can you read that?
Escapades.
See the date?
1954.
I used to have hair back in those days.
So you're in the 54 Escapades?
Yeah, long time ago.
Involved in ice skating and hockey in some way, shape, or form for the last 50 years, Bill Burley gradually made it big in Johnstown.
1974, I left New York, came to Johnstown, bought a business, worked my tail off for about 8 to 10 years and almost starved to death. I tried to get a decent job. Back in those days, Bethlehem Steel was going out of business, and all I knew was ice skating. So we built a small rink there under a bubble. Now we've got a $5 million building. We have 150 people working here, and we've built over 400 rinks.
A rink builder for the famous and influential.
And you may know this guy.
Yeah, there he is again.
It's Gordy. Alex Trebek, Bill Christian from the 60 team, and Eric Strobel from the 80 team. This is Gordy with my son. You know who this guy is?
Arnold.
Yeah. This is my son.
What's Arnold doing here?
Yeah. Oh, we did a rink for him. Yeah. Sarah Hughes, last February, she won a gold medal in Salt Lake City. We built a rink for her when she was 4 years old. Yeah. This is a product that we call Ice Cap. It's a thermal blanket. It goes over the ice and reduces over 90% of its energy savings.
So when you're not using the ice,
yeah, that's exactly it.
Much of what Burley comes up with is based on simple logic, often from experiences off the ice, like his orange crease glow paint, designed to replace the current blue paint used in the NHL and elsewhere.
If you're driving down the road, if there's a curve, you'll find a black arrow with a yellow field. And the easiest color is a black object with a yellow field. The only problem is your ice starts to milk, and if you get yellow under there, it almost looks like frozen urine, believe it or not. But the easiest color is a day-glow orange. This is why your NHL officials have an orange band around their arm. The same concept. You can see a black puck with the orange that overcomes the whiteness, the milkiness of ice. Well, we have a deflector here. This will be plastic. Oh, yeah. So if the puck comes in, gets the puck up and makes it visible.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how are you going to see a puck behind here? Right. You know what I mean? This would be a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
Visibility. And instead of this stuff, like I say, all this garbage, we believe what we're doing, and of course you know what we've done there.
Most of what he's doing now revolves around his innovative ice plant system, built to cool the ice, heat the rest of the rink building, and save energy.
It's the same concept in your refrigerator at home. To make cold, you pull heat out, and when they pull the heat out of the ice sheet, that heat is then used to heat water that is piped through the flooring. It's a subsoil heat system that allows you to get free heat for your facility.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work in California. We're doing a lot of work in Mexico also.
So the blues already exist.
Yeah, blues are there. Yeah, red ones are, yeah, we're working on now.
What is yellow and white?
Yeah, they're negotiating.
Not bad for a company that's gone to the dogs.
This is the brains of the outfit right here. This is my pal Shadow. He appreciates a good hockey game.
He's getting into it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Carnival-like atmosphere here tonight. The crowd is gathered and, well, you can feel it. There's an air of expectancy.
Well, that's going to wrap it up from the Cambria County War Memorial Arena. For Jim Carr, longtime voice of the Charlestown Chiefs, this is his booth, by the way, Rob Simpson saying so long on Maple Leaf America. We'll see you next week.